Thank you. Very likely, you are now wondering, what does a cow have to do with business collaboration? Good question. Well, I will try to explain myself. James Surovieki's book, The Wisdom of Crowds, which I highly recommend, tells us the story of Francis Galton, the British anthropologist, and the experiment that he did in 1906. He went to a county fair and asked about 800 people there their best guess for the weight of an ox. He was writing down all the answers, and at the end, he made the average. And guess what? The remarkable outcome was that the collective guess was closer to the truth than any other answer, and that was including the experts, because in that county fair, there were some experts, the people that should get to know the weight of an animal. They were farmers, they were butchers, people that really know. This is really an outstanding outcome. That means that under some circumstances, the collective intelligence is smarter than the smartest individual within the group. And this principle is proven over and over again, not only for the weight of an ox. It's proven also for financial markets, for political elections, and even for synchronization of traffic. And we should not be surprised, because the consideration of the other is inside our DNA, is embedded in our DNA. Jean-Paul Sartre, after Heidegger, already defined the self in relation to others. That means that our own thoughts and observations are not really what define ourselves. We define our roles as a reaction of the role of the others. This is called the otherness. And this otherness has also been written, has been reflected in many books, and has been also having a big impact, political, economical, social, and in many other aspects. So we are defined in relation to others. Reviewing humanity history, we can also check, we can find blatant examples that the main achievements of humanity, of mankind, have been done through collaboration. And this has been true not only in business. Business perhaps is not the most relevant one, but it has been true when fighting against natural disasters. It has been true when doing science, when doing even sports, cooking, or any other aspect, any other field that you might consider. So when I was preparing this talk, say, well, this is a piece of cake, collaboration for power. I was not talking about platform, but I say collaboration is a must, and that's the end. But at the same time, I say, oh my God, let's review my own experience just in case. And not long ago, when I was starting my career at one of the blue chip companies I've been privileged to serve at, I heard a joke that came to my mind while I was preparing this. And the joke was, do you know what a camel is? And the answer was, a camel is the design of a horse by a team. So nobody understood the subtlety of the criticism. And all the discussions were about if the camel has 1 or 2 humps. OK, that was it. I also started to remember more things. And most of the many men and women I have interviewed during my career, they were all defining themselves as perfect team workers. That's the typical question. Can you tell me something good about you? Yes, I'm an excellent team worker. That's my must. Well, I was asking a second question. And when I was trying to investigate with a second question, many arguments were not really very, very fundamentally based. Many arguments behind that statement started to blur. I continue thinking, and I say, well, I have also seen young people coming out from business schools, coming to work in companies, and they are all eager to work in a team. They feel proud of belonging to a team. They deliver their best. But you know, that people gets older, and that people gets promotions, and one day they become leaders. And you know, when you are at a higher hierarchical level, the quality and the quantity of teamwork is not the same. It seems like when we become leaders, our generosity goes away. We become more defensive. We become more protective. And if we talk about the team, it's to say, my team, and it's a question of possession. Instead of saying my team, referring to the group where I belong to as well. Well, I also think that might be that we all need to be somehow obliged, either by somebody else or by ourselves, to work in a team. Well, could be, but I continue thinking. Perhaps I have seen also lots of collective successes in businesses. And I have seen that press and media, no matter how collective an achievement is, they need one single face. Even at sports, you know, it's not Barcelona's team, it's Messi's team. It's not Real Madrid team, it's Ronaldo's team. So press always needs one hero, one person, which is not very collaborative. It's not a recognition the team really deserves. So I say, my God, this is not going to be so easy. Let's at least recognize that collaboration in business and contribution or competition is somehow controversial. Some people consider that it's not the same. You know, one thing is competing, and a different thing is collaborate. And my point of view is that they should come together in the very near future. So what is going on? How can we foster? Because I'm convinced that collaboration in business can shake up the markets, the business models, the way the corporations are leading in the next future for the century and the years beyond. So what is missing in here? And then I remember, OK, mathematicians, when they don't find a solution for a problem, it's not that the problem has not a solution. That is what we all will say. When mathematicians cannot find a solution for a problem, what they do? They change the maths. You know, easy. That's the way they resolve the infinitesimal calculations or matricial theories. So fine, that was a good hint. What we need to do has something to do with that. We need to create the right environment to business or competition in business to be collaborative. And the word that comes to my mind is to find the ecosystem, to foster the ecosystem that will allow, that will facilitate that collaboration. That ecosystem is a complete set of things that we as a society, as a culture, we need to do, we need to leverage all together. And it's not going to be short-term, it's going to be long-term. But let's try and let's explain what I see on this ecosystem. Everything starts with education. We need to review the way we are educated. I think that we need to reinforce education on the capabilities that we master, that we excel. Because those capabilities are going to be the ones that are going to make us eligible and contributors for that collaboration. We need also to foster, to develop the right set of skills and the right set of capabilities and attitudes. Generosity, listening, active listening, humility, recognition for others. So all that type of things that sometimes are forgotten in some studios on some career of our students nowadays. But also we need to review, we need to modify the business practices as they are today. For instance, I think that we should change the way we recruit people. Instead of recruiting people forever, we should pick up the right people for the right project according to the capabilities that we need for that given project. And we also need to do the groups in a different way. We need to create the groups according to the needs of the goal of that project. And the balance inside the group and the recognition inside the group also needs to be different. Let's stop paying only because of the output of the group and start recognizing the real contribution of each member to the group. And that way, if we really compensate for merit, contribution will be more fair. Also, we need to do and guarantee different training, because let's say that we have a diverse workforce entering the door. We train them, and then we have an aligned workforce, which is not exactly what we need to collaborate, because if all of them are equal, collaboration will not be enriched. We also need to guarantee that we have the right infrastructure to make our troops to collaborate. And the right infrastructure is fundamentally technology. We need technology to access to the right information. We need to get to know the reasons why we are cooperating, why we are collaborating. We need to know all the information that we need to perform in our groups. We also need technology to monitor performance, to correct deviations. We need infrastructure and technology just to warrant it that the goal is exactly what we are perceiving and what we are following. And we also need not only that technology, we also need the right working spaces. We need a workspace that really facilitates the interaction of the groups. And that's not all. We also need something that is more software. We also need the right atmosphere. We need the atmosphere that is fear-free, where everybody can express their own opinions. An atmosphere where the more creative people can say whatever they consider is up to the subject, and the financial people, for instance, don't say, oh my God, what a waste of time. The more structured people need to say, what a big opportunity. I will add my capability of structuring this idea and see if we can make it happen. And the financial guy should say, oh my God, I have to do the numbers behind this, I have to do the business case, and perhaps we will be different. We will have a competitive advantage. So perhaps the organizational structure also will help. We have at least to debate which one to discuss, which one is going to be better, more appropriate to work as a team, to collaborate. And there are some topics on the table, such as holacracy systems, that we need really to make discussions about, and we really need to see the pros and cons and see how it works. And nothing will happen without the right leadership. We need to review the capabilities the leaders need to foster collaboration in business. Some of these capabilities will be to make a good trade-off between controlling, between monitoring, between coaching, and just setting them free, setting them to go on their own and add new ideas. But also, we need leaders with a view more on the future than to the past. More explaining the past can be done by robots, but looking at the future, we need really the value added of a good leader, a visionary leader. So leaders that have a good trade-off, leaders that look at the future, and leaders that have a different risk management capability. Because when you work in teams and you look towards the future, risk is slightly higher. But it's fundamental to have the right leadership. And if it is fundamental when we are talking about collaboration within a business, when we talk about collaboration between businesses or from one business to one of the stakeholders, then it's even more important, because the leader needs to know the rationale behind, needs to know what is strategic for that company to do that project. And it's even more important when we are not only collaborating between businesses, but when it is open collaboration, when we want to have the collaboration of people that we have no relation with, any talent that would like to contribute to the competitiveness of our business. So we need to know exactly which information to share and where are the red lines of the confidential information, for instance. So leadership is a must to make this happen. And also, we need some role models. We need success stories to tell and to be inspirational for all of us. But of course, as Steve Jobs said, well, Steve Jobs said that his business model, his favorite business model, was the Beatles. He said that the four of them were controlling the negatives of each other, and the four of them were much better than the addition of each of them. So that's exactly what we need to do, to eliminate the bad, to eliminate, to reduce the negatives. And to reduce the negatives in that ecosystem, we need to monitor very carefully that there is no conflict of interest, conflict of personalities, that the interest for which the group was created still persists, that there is no disruption of a different priority. And of course, we need to monitor very carefully the roles of each one and the procedures in place, having a continuous monitoring of the right KPIs. The fundamental thing is that everybody in the group needs to agree, needs to be committed that the group goal, the group interest, is before of any personal interest or goal. That will be eliminating the bad, the negative of this collaboration. And the third thing that I suggest today for fostering or leveraging collaboration in business, apart from the ecosystem and eliminating the negatives, is it has to do with each of you. We need you for collaboration in business. You need to be eligible. And being eligible means, paradoxically, being eligible for collaboration means a lot of personal hard work. You need to study, you need to be prepared, you need to read, you need to be exposed, you need to make mistakes, you need to have personal and customized feedback. You need also sometimes some experience. So we need you for business collaboration, and that is a very private or more private thing. You need to be eligible, you need to maximize your contribution to that business collaboration. But why do we need to foster this collaboration today in business? Well, perhaps again, looking at nature, we will find some answers. You see that birds fly in groups because it's more efficient. And yes, efficiency is a macro trend of our business world today. We need to be more efficient. Resources are always limited, and sometimes they need to be reduced. And every type of resource, time, money, and people, we need to do more with the same that we have, or we need to do what we are doing with less resources. That's being more competitive, that's being more productive. Why do we need to reduce this type of resources? We need to reduce this type of resources because our customers are more demanding every day, and they want us to produce products and services at the lowest cost possible, and at the same time, they want it with a perfect logistics. They want us to invest in brand, in marketing, in R&D, in talent, in technology. So we need to save some resources to do all what our customers are demanding from us. And don't forget that we need to produce the goods at a much lower price. So it's not only that we need efficiency, it's that this efficiency implies as well creativity and innovation. So we need to think different. And perhaps we have not all the talents required inside the organization at all times. And we need to guarantee that we are competitive towards the future. So we need to guarantee that our competitiveness is reliable, is predictable, and is sustainable. So we need also every type of talent, every type of collaboration. But it's not only this efficiency and this innovation and creativity. It's also that as a consequence of that production of goods at a lower price, we need to scale in our business. We need to have major volumes. We need to have more volumes just to have the same benefit. So if we need to grow, if we need to go ahead, then we need also going out of the human limits. So if we are going to go out of our human limits, we need to collaborate. So just let's summarize. The future is going to be harder. That's for sure. I'm sorry for you. The future is going to be harder. So you better be in a good company. You better be with some colleagues. You better be with a good team. Second, very likely we will have to release power for talent. That means that we will need to, if we want to attract and retain talent, we will need to release some power. And it's the same evolution that it has been in the IT industry. Not so far ago, let's say 20 years ago, we have powerful CPUs and light terminals. Imagine how big is the IT industry today, and it has been because the devices are more powerful and autonomous. Imagine how much could boost business results if we do the same. Third, we also need to create an ecosystem. We need to be eligible, and we need to reduce the bad. We need to eliminate what is going against collaboration. We also want to collaborate because even being part of a very high-performance team is very demanding, but it's also very motivational and rewarding and fun. So I think that this is, as a business person, my final comment. Collaboration in business is the perfect win-win deal. It's going to be good for your customers, for sure. It's going to be good for your businesses. They will be more competitive. But guess what? It's going to be even better for you, and you, each of you, because you will break your limits, because you will challenge your limit, you will multiply your talents, you will multiply your time, you will multiply your learning experience, so you will be enriched as a professional and as a human being. Thank you very much.